Welcome. I hope everyone is well and safe during these unsettling times. Today, Giles Garnett, the head of professional services, will be introducing the newest updates that came with the Dux-Soup version 7.3.2. I'll be running live chat. My name is Jin, head of customer support. And at the end of our webinar, we will have a Q&A with Giles. And this webinar will be relatively short, I think. Yeah, thank you. And back to you, Giles.
Thank you, Jin. Yes, good morning, afternoon, or evening to everyone who's joining today's Dux-Soup webinar. Thank you so much for joining us today, especially during these unsettling and uncertain times. We hope that you and your loved ones are all safe and well, and we'd like to reassure you that Dux-Soup remains unaffected by the current situation, and we are continuing to fully support our customers all across the world. Both support and development activities remain unaffected at the moment, so you will continue to see Dux-Soup moving forward in the coming months. And we are here with our fabulous support team, whom Jin is the head of, to help you as much as ever with your LinkedIn networking and lead generation activities. So in line with the ongoing developments of Dux-Soup, today we would like to inform you about the latest Dux-Soup version, that's 7.3.2, and we're really excited about this release. I'm going to present, as usual, a few slides and some live demo. If there's problems with the screen quality, please put it in the live chat and Jin will inform me as we go along. I know last time there were some screen quality issues. I know there've been some problems with Demio and some capacity issues on that side. I'll try and make it as clear as possible and not flick too quickly between images. 7.3.2, really excited about this release, and there's some great new functionality which will simplify processes for our turbo users. And that's especially those who are making use of the webhook functionality, and also those who are using the auto follow-up functions. We've also now got further support for other Chrome-based browsers for users who are not comfortable using the free-range releases. So, for example, Brave and Yandex, you just need to look for Dux-Soup in the Chrome store on those browsers, and you can add it direct from the Chrome store. And if we have time towards the end of the demonstration, I will show you that as well. So the main things, the main highlights from 7.3.2. So the unread flag is no longer used for messages. As many of you are aware, when you were carrying out automated activities with Dux-Soup in LinkedIn, you had to leave messages in an unread state in order for the message bridge to pick them up and process those messages correctly. What will happen now is that you can now read your messages and not worry about the state, because Dux-Soup will use time stamping in order to assess and check for new messages. I will show you a demonstration of this in a second. And Dux-Soup will not change the message status. Again, you'll see that shortly. And the other good thing is that we can also now force a manual check for messages and new connections. So rather than having to turn the switch on and off repeatedly in order to get data, we can now just press a button and it'll go off and it'll carry out various things. And yeah, we'll show you all of that in the demo now.
I'm very sorry about this. Giles got cut off. Let's see if he's going to be back in a few seconds. Yes, so with regards to Ilya's questions about avoiding sending free identic follow-ups, follow-up should not be sent at the same time because Turbo has a blacklisting function. So that should not be a problem. We will have a recording of this webinar if this is actually gonna carried out. I'm very sorry about this. I'm trying to get in touch with Giles to see what just had happened. So bear with me. I'll be back in 2 seconds. I just need to try to give him a quick call.
Hello, sorry about that. Not quite sure what happened then. I don't know how far did we get, Jin?
Well, just the beginning. You just started telling about. Basically, it cut off just when you started explaining everything.
So what was it that in this page here from
Yes.
From where I was in Dux-Soup Turbo?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that. I don't know what happened to my connection there. Yeah. So rewind. I wasn't talking for too long with nobody listening, I don't think. So yeah, what we have now is these 3 buttons here, where with the message bridge we can force a manual check against either against your regular LinkedIn mailbox, against your Sales Navigator mailbox, or against your new LinkedIn connections. And what you can see below here is you also then get a timestamp as to when each of these were checked. So what I'm going to do now is I checked this one earlier, my connections. If I press the check connections box now, previously we would see a new tab open when this check was being carried out. What happens now is it actually opens a new window. So when I press check connections, you can see now that Dux-Soup will open a new window. Hopefully you can see that clearly. Now, because I've checked this already today, it will not find any new connections, but you'll just see the process run. As usual, you can see here the Dux-Soup notifications coming up. It'll scroll down the list, looking for new connections, and it'll realize fairly quickly in this case that there aren't any new ones because it's using the timestamp. As you can see here, the timestamp just updated to my current local time. So if I now check my regular mailbox, I can press check regular, and once again it opens a new window rather than a tab, and that's one of the important things to remember. What it's going to do now is going to look for new messages. So in the same way that the message bridge would check for new messages before, it's now checking these that way, and it does not seem to have completed that correctly because we don't have a timestamp. So if you don't get a timestamp, that means it's not completed the check properly. It closed the window before it had finished. So this time, hopefully, we will see this run the process correctly. I believe we had this problem before when we were doing this, and I think it may be that we need to turn on the message bridge in order for this to happen. And then you have the message bridge turned on, and then it works correctly. Bear with me 1 second. Okay. It's opening the new window automatically there and should be checking for new messages, but currently isn't. Maybe that was the way we were doing it. Sorry about this, everybody. No, for some reason, we're not able to check the regular mailbox or the Sales Navigator mailbox. We'll come back to that shortly. Jin, were you aware of any issues that were being faced with this particular?
I did not receive any reports of this issue.
Okay, all right. I'll have a check back through in a second to see if there were any issues there. But basically what we can do now is, rather than having the message bridge having to turn it on and off in order to look for sample data, you can carry out a regular check against these things. I'll double check as to see why that's not happening at the moment, and hopefully we'll have the answer to that before the end of this webinar. What we can do in the meantime is we can look at the webhooks side of things. The webhooks, of course, are relating to when you're building your Zaps through Zapier. And what we can do now is we can send sample data really, really easily. So if we're going to create a new Zap, for example, so if I'm going to go to Zapier now, and I'm going to make a Zap in the normal way that we would, hopefully this is reasonably clear and large enough for everybody to see. I'm going to call this test demo. And all I'm going to do here now is I'm going to create a simple Zap by using a webhook. In the normal way, we will use a catch hook here, and then we'll press continue. This will create us our unique URL, which I'm going to copy and paste into my options screen in Dux-Soup. So I'm going to turn.
Sorry, please could you zoom in a little bit?
Is that on the Zapier page?
And on Dux-Soup, because it's quite blurry.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, all right, so I've copied and pasted my webhook URL here, and I've put that into my Dux-Soup field here. And what I want to do here is I would like to just gather some visit information. So I want to capture data when I'm carrying out a visit. So what we can do now is, as previously we would have to then carry out a visit and see what's happened, what we can do now is I can just press this button here, send sample. Are you sure you wish to send a sample event to this address? I'm going to say yes to that. It will send some sample data. What we can do now is we can go back to Zapier, and if we scroll down here, we press continue, and we should now have some sample data appear here. So in line with visit data, there's always two events in a visit. There's a create event and an update event. And we can see here, we've got these two webhooks pulled. So here, the lower one, we have our create event. We can see here the timestamp is, 13 minutes past 4 Zulu time. And we have here some sample data. Now this is all fixed data here. This is the same data, but whenever you carry this out, the things that will change is the user ID and the timestamp, so that you know it's unique to your activity. And then using this data from the create event, or we look at the other one under here, we see we can have our update event. And under here, we would see, normally you'd see an email address. Then we can now carry on and populate the data in our Zap in the normal way without having to carry out a sample visit and pull data from here, there, and everywhere. So this is a really useful thing to be able to do. What we can also demonstrate now is that if we want to capture a different sort of event, so for example a message event, and we want to send some sample message data, once again I'm going to use the same webhook, and I'm going to press send sample. Again, it's going to send some sample data. The webhook will still be listening. We're now going to press find data again, look for some more samples. and it's pulled in some more samples for me. And you can see here now, it's pulled in some message events, some message type events. So we've got a received event here, again with some sample data, with some tags, various different bits and pieces. If you look under the second one, we've also got another message received event here. We've got two different types here. We've got an invitation accept, so that would be for new connection types, for example. Under data type further down here, we have member to member, so that would be a member a message exchange between two individuals in LinkedIn. So it's you can see that it's a much more straightforward process now to populate the data in your zaps when you're building them, to see how see how that process goes. It's a lot quicker, it's a lot more intuitive. You no longer have to go backwards and forwards with regards gathering information from various fields and making sure that various settings are configured in the correct way. Okay, so we can do that with all of these different event types here. If we press on, for example, the action type and we press another sample, let's have another look at that one. We'll send some more data through to this zap. We'll press the find data, and we'll now we'll press see more samples. I'm not sure that's sent. There we did. Yep. So we've now got an action. We've got a create event here. Here we've got a PDF file, a PDF profile. So there's all sorts of different things that you can carry out there with regards automating your activities here through the webhook process. Right, I'm now going to try this one again and see why we are not getting any success here. It may have to do with the fact that I've checked this already today. Let's see if it's going to pick up any new messages. It doesn't look like it is at the moment, which is unfortunate for this demo. But the idea is that with the new way that the message bridge checking is working, is it's no longer using the flags that we were using previously. It's using timestamps in order to gather the information and know whether there's a new message been sent or not, or been received or not. So you no longer need to worry about marking messages as unread. We'll follow up with this one afterwards and see what's gone on there, because I don't know exactly while I'm standing here presenting to you guys, and I can try repeatedly, and I don't think it's necessarily going to make it work, but we'll follow that one up after this this webinar. So the release notes against the new release, as you can see here on the support website, we have the unread flag no longer used. There's a few more details there, and you can see here how it would look as and when you've checked the various mailboxes, etc. It provides a timestamp here, so that's how that's working. Sending sample data, we've looked through that in the webhooks, and you can send the different types of sample data depending on the event type that you're looking at. And then finally, with other browsers, you can now use the standard Dux-Soup with Chrome alternatives. So that means that if you can find it in the Chrome store under a different browser, then you will be able to use Dux-Soup. So for example, here I have, let's just pull that one across and make it a little bit bigger. This is the Brave browser. Make it a bit bigger so that people can see. This is in the Chrome store on Brave, and here I can just press against Dux-Soup for LinkedIn. I should now be able to add this to this browser. Just wait a moment. For some reason, we have a few issues today. Okay, let's try that again. That extension. The perils of doing these things live. It's worked perfectly earlier today, and of course, now less than perfect. There we go. So Dux-Soup has now been added to Brave. So I now have the Dux-Soup icon here. I could sign into my account and use my account from here within a different browser if you aren't using Chrome and you wish to use something else. So we've got Brave, there's Yandex, and there's various other Chrome-based browsers for which this is now working directly, and you no longer have to use, or if you want to use it outside of the Chrome environment, you don't have to use the free range option, which is available via the website still. Okay, let's go back to the slides. We've been through that. Unfortunately, yeah, the message checking isn't working properly at the moment, and I will follow that up and we'll provide an update later on. Very quickly, forthcoming webinars on the 31st of March, I think it's next Tuesday, we're going to be doing an Automate LinkedIn follow-up with Dux-Soup Pro, so focusing there upon the Pro users more so than the Turbo users, and how you can build a process around your LinkedIn follow-up activities there. And then 2 weeks after that, we're going to be doing a LinkedIn and Dux-Soup search and filtering masterclass. So in the middle of April, that one will be, and will be publicized as per usual via the website. These slides, I believe, have already been provided to Jin. So if those are required by people, then those can be shared accordingly. We have, as always, the booster and technical sessions available, and our fabulous support team on hand to provide you with all the help and support you need. The usual, very interesting, the usual links to all of the useful resources that we have available. Our homepage, the webinars, the tutorials, the support, and of course our Facebook page. And much quicker than usual, we're at the question stage.
Carmen, we don't really have any questions.
Okay.
So that was smooth.
That is, that's very, very quick. I'm just wondering if there's anything else that we need to cover. Anything else that you can think of, Jin?
In so 2 seconds.
No problems at all.
For integration with chatbots, maybe you know about the future upgrades.
I'm not aware of that at the moment. However, we have the suggestions page where I'm not exactly sure where the suggestions page is. Are you, Jin? Do you have that information where people can request new functionality?
Yes, I will share it now.
If you can share that on the chat, because if it's already been suggested on the new functionality page, then you can upvote that if that's a functionality that you find is particularly useful for yourself. And as you see, if you look at the functionality request page, you can see as you go down there how many of them have already been dealt with over time, and you know, these will appear on the action list of the development team. They'll get prioritized according to the demand that is placed upon them.
Make sure that this is clear. How can I stop Dux-Soup opening the inbox?
How can you stop Dux-Soup opening your inbox? You just need to, if I come out of here and I go back to my options page, if you just turn off the message bridge, then Dux-Soup will not be visiting your inbox. You need to, make sure your message bridge here is turned off. Now, what you need to remember is that when you're using the automated follow-up messages, Dux-Soup still needs to open your mailbox in order for those messages to be processed and for that message flow to be triggered. So when you turn on your automated messages, your automated follow-up messages switch here, we're now going to see, of course, the mailbox is being checked as I'm turning things on and off. Minimize that a second. If we go now back, so if we have our automated messages turned on here, and we go back here, we can see here that the message bridge and the remote control functions are turned on as well. If I now turn these two off, this will remain active, but they won't be triggered. Nothing will be triggered until you turn on your message bridge in your remote control, because this functionality is linked. The way that the automated follow-up messages are triggered is when the message bridge picks up your new connections and then processes them in due course. So it's the message bridge that will be opening your mailbox. We can see now that my regular mailbox has just been checked and it's successfully done that. So we have things working properly now. Okay. Anything else, Jin?
There's one last question. Do you know any reasons why automated follow-ups could be duplicated?
The reason why automated follow-ups could be duplicated. Let's have a think. It's not something I've come across in my dealings with it. Is that something that the support team have seen at all, Jin?
Two instances, but it was with the very late versions. With the new version, I haven't seen this.
Okay, so since the upgrade to 7.3, you've not seen this at all. Is that correct?
One customer is asking, and he's running the latest version.
Okay.
So I was wondering if there's this an issue, or is just a setup issue.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any known issues on that side of things, I'm not sure what the issue would have been that would have led to that before, unless I can imagine that if messages were being set as because that would be a new connection issue, wouldn't it? Be registering a new connection and then queuing your messages accordingly. I'm not aware of an issue at the moment. However, if you have a specific issue regarding that, then if you could email support and then include as many details as possible, and then we can have our support team have a look at that, if that's okay.
No further questions. Yep.
All right. I'd like to reiterate my earlier message to all of you about staying safe, and thank you ever so much for taking your time today to join us on this webinar at these challenging times. We very much appreciate it, and hope we can continue to support you going forward. All right, I'll hand over to you to Jin to close everything down.
I'll see you soon. And please contact us at info@Dux-Soup.com and we will help you if you have any further questions. Thank you.